Hello, everyone. I'm going to begin with a reading from Whispers from Eternity, and these are prayer demands written by Yogananda. And this one for today that I've chosen is, may I reap the greatest harvest in the short season of this earth life. My allotted plot of consciousness was small. Carelessly, I let it grow barren. It produced no crops of inner life-sustaining culture. Now the bleak winter of dead opportunities approaches with its pall of unproductivity. My lot is small, and my life's season is short. Yet now I would produce a mighty harvest. I will expand my kingdom of willpower. To do so, I must conquer new states of consciousness, enlarge my achievements, and outgrow in consciousness every limiting horizon. But, O Father Divine, there are billions of my hungry thought families and their little ones to feed. And for them, I need a big harvest during this short season of my earth life. The irrigating waters of my craving many times grew dry, while my soil of inner culture was left undeveloped. Now I will work all the harder, using the machinery of scientific technique in my search for Thee. O divine sower, with thine unseen hand, throw thy living seeds of inspiration into the cultivated furrows of my awakened resolution. In this short remaining season of my earthly life, let me reap the largest harvest of all, thy cosmic vision. Today our topic is the promise of the scriptures. I don't think any of us are expecting the fattened calf. But there's many things we could expect, and I suspect if we took the time and asked everybody here what they thought that promise was, we might come up with quite a handful or a couple handfuls of possibilities. On the level of spirituality, it could be that living this spiritual life, all good things will come to us and we'll have what we need. And that would certainly be true. We could expect that the promise is salvation, liberation, immortality. This would be true. But the one highlighted in this scripture today, in the reading that Ananta read, is the promise of unconditional love. And this promise is given, and through inspired poetry, we celebrate it every Sunday at the close of our service in the Festival of Light, with the story of the bird that leaves its home in God and holds the thought, the familiar thought to all of us, I'm sure, I can do this myself. And maybe I've got a better idea, or at least a good one, and I'd like to pursue it and see how it unfolds. And out we go for whatever amount of time, and it's been, as the scriptures say, well, lots of incarnations, millions, billions, I don't know. It's been as Master said to one of the disciples, it's been a long time, that's all I'll say. So, you know, this reenactment by each one of us of the prodigal child is something quite familiar. We've done it many, many times, as Yogananda says in his poem Samadhi. The universe, forgotten dream, subconsciously lurks, ready to invade my newly wakened memory divine. And so it's a familiar path. We've traveled it many, many, many times. I was remembering what drew my attention, to my own life, of course. In this life, as a very young child, probably around 3 or 4, a single mom by that time. My father died, I think it was probably about age 4. And she took us out to brunch oftentimes on Sunday. And we would go to an inn that had a restaurant, and we'd have our breakfast there together. By that time, it was just me and 1 or 2 of my sisters. And afterwards, we would go next door, and we would walk around the lake of Lake Shrine in Southern California. This is one of the places and temples that Yogananda founded. And we would walk around and feed the swans. And we did this often enough, and it was a part of my life all the way up through high school until I went away, went out of state to college. Always a place of personal refuge. But the interesting part of it was that it wasn't until I was 21 years old, I found Ananda. I came here to Ananda Village. I was introduced to Autobiography of a Yogi, read it, met Swami Kriyananda, and put it all together. I had never made the connection. Can you imagine? In that vibration all the time. But it's the story of each one of us. We're in God's vibration. We're in God's universe, such as it is. It's right in our face. We're living it, and we don't see it. We don't see it until we're ready. We don't see it until we wake up at that pivotal moment where we realize this isn't working. There's something else. I had it better at my father's home, said the son who had left. There I was fed, there I was taken care of. And at that pivotal point, we're looking in that direction, and what is there for us? Unconditional love, non-judgmental. We've made mistakes, we've erred, we've been offered something on a very high order and we've rejected it, but there's no judgment there. There's full acceptance, there's full unconditional love, and we realize at that point, when we turn around and we're looking home and we're looking to the light, we remember that divine memory awakens, smriti as it is referred to, and we see that that love was always there. It was with us all of the time, in all of the places, however devoid we might think of them of light. God was there. That light was there. That reality was there, offering us unconditional love. And we realize at that moment that nothing else is going to really, fix the problem. Nothing else is really going to change us or uplift us except that divine reality. As it says in the Bhagavad Gita, it says, the true self can only be sustained by spiritual states of consciousness, such as divine love, calmness, bliss. That's the food of the soul. Nothing else works. And that's the divine promise. That's what God is offering to us. And when we open to that, we see the truth of that, and we see the path that will take us there. When Swami Kriyananda met his guru Paramhansa Yogananda, a beautiful, beautiful account which he describes in his autobiography, The New Path. And it's so profound every time we read that. There's so many levels, so many truths that are being exchanged there, that are being presented to us to see and absorb and assimilate and live. And Swami, through remarkable circumstance, He sees Autobiography of a Yogi, and what moves him? The picture of Master, the picture of Yogananda. He hasn't even opened the book yet, but there's something is speaking to him there. And the short story is he reads the book, realizes he's found what he has come for, and he sets across the country and he meets with Paramhansa Yogananda. Again, a series of things that happen that fully bring him to a point of receptivity so that he can recognize what's before him and what he needs to do. And kneeling at Yogananda's feet, he says, I want to be your disciple. And a little exchange goes on there back and forth, and Yogananda finally says, you've got good karma. Divine Mother's told me to accept you. And then Yogananda says, I give you my unconditional love. Will you give me your unconditional love? And Swami Kriyananda, we have to remember that, this has all come about very suddenly. Certainly he has the karma. He's been with Yogananda before, but it's remarkable nonetheless. And he says, yes, I will give you my unconditional love. And that's a very important part of what we need to understand today, because there is the promise of the scripture. There is this eternal offering on behalf of God, behalf of the Guru. But the other part of that is that we have to reciprocate that. We have to come into that place of unconditional love, and so that we are living that, so that we are offering that. And that's when the promise can do its magic, if you will. Otherwise, it's just a beautiful passage in a book, a beautiful passage of scripture, but it's kind of inactive. There's nothing really going on there. We have to promise the very same that is being offered to us. Swami Kriyananda tells a story, and again in the New Path, of one of the monks who actually came very near. Swamiji was there for about 3.5 years with Yogananda. This fellow came even a couple years after Swamiji. Wasn't there very long, Rogers. And Oliver Rogers, not Yogacharya Black, this was another. And one of the monks, he was a monk there, and one day the monks were gathered together and Master came up and he just looked right at him and he said, and you will have clear sailing. Well, who wouldn't want to hear that on the spiritual path, right? Oh boy, good. We'd probably just relax and have a cup of tea and feel that the work was done. But Swamiji was there, and of course everyone, was quite moved by this and wanting to hear that for themselves. And, just with bated breath, and one of them asked, will we all have clear sailing, Master? And Master smiled, and he said, you will all have clear sailing if you remain faithful to the end. And there was such exuberance. You can only imagine Master saying that and feeling some big relief in yourself. And Swami said, I wonder if everyone really understood what Master was saying. You will have clear sailing if you remain faithful to the end. In other words, if you continue to live dynamically the spiritual life, if you continue to try and practice being in tune with that consciousness that was flowing through, that was manifesting through their guru, Yogananda. So again, that gives us some work to do to really fully receive and realize that promise. And the other point that I wanted to make was this promise is not just about the life we're living, the spiritual life we're living in terms of the day-to-day, but it also very much has to do with our specific spiritual practices and our meditations. Because how often do we sit to meditate and we're ambushed? We're completely ambushed by the wayward mind. It just goes off in one of countless directions. Some of those directions we've headed off in many times in meditation. I can certainly speak for myself. Others, maybe they're new. But the mind is also the prodigal child, and it's rebellious, and it has its own agenda. It's not always in line with our spiritual agenda or what we're trying to do. And so there's a battle there. I was meditating recently, and I finished the meditation. I came out, and big picture of Swamiji there, and I just naturally turned and looked at it. And I won't tell you everything, but essentially, just straight away, what I heard was, stay focused on that which is there to do. I didn't ask a question. I didn't think I did. I don't know. But that's what came through. And it wasn't an admonition. It wasn't a stay focused, you know. It was just that flow of unconditional love and encouragement. But something I think, and the reason why I mentioned it is, we can all take heart in those words. Stay focused on that which is there to do. I mean, it's not that complicated. It's right there. And if we do that, we're headed home. We're headed in the direction of the light. Recently, when maybe a few months ago, I sat down to meditate, similar thing in a different way. And the situation in my life at that time was such that I was a little anxious. So there was kind of a pervasive anxiousness. And I sat down to meditate, and within a minute I thought, this just isn't going to work. This isn't going to go anywhere. You know, I was so restless. And but I didn't want to be restless. It wasn't comfortable, right? It's not very comfortable to be agitated about whatever the thing is. And the minute I decided to just stay there and stay with it, I could see kind of out in front of me. It was very interesting, the choices I had. I could head off to worry if I wanted. That would take some time and probably get me nowhere, I'm sure. I could head off to anxiety, just full-blown anxiety. That would keep me busy for a while if I wanted to do that. You know, just all of these. I could go into blame. That was a good one, and I could certainly link it up to what the situation was if I wanted. And I just saw it all kind of out there in front of me. I thought, wow, that's really interesting. No, I don't want to go to any of those places. So it was a great motivator. I just sat there as still as I could and started to do some rhythmic breathing, just a few times, a little bit of Hong Sa. It didn't take long, a few Kriyas. I mean, it couldn't have been more than 5 minutes. And all of that just ceased to be magnetic. It just, nothing. It was just all nothing, no distraction anymore. And isn't it nice when that happens? It happens once in a while, and we see, wow, these techniques are really powerful. And but you know, again, when we decide to turn in that direction, it's so important that our energy comes with that, and our energy is right behind it, supporting the movement in that direction. Ananta and I were recently reading a book by Devi Mukherjee, Shaped by the Saints, a marvelous account, and we hadn't read it in years. And we were reading this book together, and we got to the chapter. It's about Yogananda's childhood friend. Well, this story is about Yogananda's childhood friend, Tulsi Bose. Devi Mukherjee, a dear friend of Swamiji, is no longer in the body. His wife was Hashi Mukherjee, no longer in the body. And Hashi was the youngest daughter of, in the Bose family. And so that would be Tulsi's daughter, the youngest daughter in Tulsi's family when he grew up, and he had a big family. Anyway, that's their relation. A lot of people at Ananda knew them. And so Devi wrote this book, this account of his life. And he's retelling Yogananda's meeting with Tulsi Bose. And Yogananda was about 16 at the time. Tulsi lived right there. I don't know why they hadn't connected sooner, but they never had. Yogananda was from a big family, multi-generational, a lot of them all there in the same house. And so there was always a relative level of commotion there and noise. He found it hard to meditate, hard to find quiet in the house. And one day he prayed intensely to Divine Mother, and he said, please, give me a friend, give me a companion who is devoted, who is dedicated to you, Divine Mother, and some place where we can just meditate and be with you. And shortly thereafter, he was just walking out on the street, and he found he had a vision, and that vision showed him a house, and Divine Mother said to him, here you will find someone your age, a friend who is very devoted to me, very dedicated, and he and his family will provide for you and give you a space and everything you need. And Yogananda was so grateful, and he thanked Divine Mother. And it was right then or shortly thereafter that he met Tulsi Bose. And a beautiful meeting of the two coming together. And at one point in their friendship, I don't think it was long after that, Tulsi said to Yogananda, will you give me samadhi? And Yogananda, I mean, straight away, this is how Devi writes it, Yogananda just said, come here, sit by me. And he touches Tulsi, and Tulsi goes into this state of samadhi. And I don't know how long he was in it, but he comes out of samadhi, or Yogananda brings him out, whatever it was. And Yogananda says to him, how did you like it? I don't think Yogananda was really teasing him, but I don't know, Yogananda, he played some tricks. And Tulsi starts to describe, his experiences. And then he says, can you teach me how to go into this state all of the time, so I can be in this state all the time? And Master smiles, and he says, no, you're going to have to wait until your next life. Well, at this point, Ananta's reading this to me, and it'd been too long since I'd read the book to know, the account or this story. And I just went, oh! And we both just started laughing. And I don't know where that came from, but it was just like, oh my gosh, it's right there. And it's, nope, can't have it. And here was the person who could do something about it. And, but Devi doesn't share any more of the story at that point, other than to say, he said to Tulsi, meanwhile, practice Kriya as I have taught it to you, and live a simple existence. And then that's all that Devi Mukherjee shared. But I was thinking about that. I mean, Tulsi, being the dedicated, devoted person he was, certainly in that aura of unconditional love of the Guru. And I'm sure he just seized it, did what he had to do, grew up, raised his family, had amongst his children Hashi, who married Devi, who was part of the whole scene there. I mean, he just did it. He did as Master instructed him. Practice your Kriya as I've taught it to you, and live a simple existence. And these two, they bring us to that place of increasing receptivity in which we can live the life of a disciple, loving unconditionally this path, what we've been given, such as it is, and, and going forward. The story of the prodigal son isn't the ending. It's, as a master said, he was not our master, but a spiritual master, was describing the stages of the spiritual path, and he said, beginning and continuing. That's it. You just keep going with it, and not only are you moving toward the light, toward that unconditional love, but that reality you're experiencing within yourself, and it's with you the whole way home. And we get to that place where we're living that truth. We're living that truth. It's two participants there, Divine Mother and us, and we're living our part of that promise.
Is there anywhere on earth perfect freedom, sorrow's dearth, selfless friendship, blameless birth, cherish these, naught else has worth? Is there anywhere on earth perfect freedom, sorrow's dearth, selfless friendship, blameless birth, cherish these, naught else has worth? Is there anywhere on earth perfect freedom, sorrow's dearth, selfless friendship, blameless birth, cherish these, naught else has worth? Join us. Is there anywhere on earth perfect freedom, sorrow's dearth, selfless friendship, blameless birth, cherish these, naught else has worth?
Love is all I know, sun rays on the snow of a winter long, in darkness without song. Oh, my heart's a fire, burning all desire, only you remain, and life again. Love is all I know, sun rays on the snow of a winter long, in darkness without song. Oh, my heart's a fire, burning all desire, only you remain, and life again. Too long I did stray smile was mine all the while. I listened and love was there. I can't breathe for love, all the stars above call to me, come home, life's way